So the holidays just happened, and I might have sorta, kind of, maybe, probably, totally overindulged just a little bit. Maybe you did too. So today, we're gonna talk about 9 healthy habits that you could try this year. Greetings, and welcome to, or welcome back to PB with Jay. Here we focused on all things plant-based goodness. And today, we're gonna talk about all things healthy habits, which I know a little bit about because I myself lost half my body weight in a super duper totally healthy way using some of the tips that I'll talk about today. If you're like me, maybe you let a few things slip over this holiday season, or for a few weeks before that, or months, maybe years. We are not judging. And maybe you've decided to give yourself a swift kick in the butt, or like me, reintroduce some healthy habits into your life. So today we're gonna go through 9 healthy habits that you might wanna consider as you head into the new year. Don't freak out, you don't have to do all of them. Consider this more like an a la carte menu, where you can pick and choose from all the different ones that you want to try out. Maybe you're already doing a few of these. Maybe you've tried some and you're like, I don't like that. That sucked. I'm not doing it. That's fine. You don't have to do anything you want to do. But chances are, of the 9 things that we're going to mention today, at least one of these things will probably make your life a little bit better. Just a little bit. Pinch. I'm trying to squish you. Did it work? Are you squished? And stick around to the end because I'm going to tell you which of these habits I'm going to focus on more over the next months, year, lifetime. And then we're going to come back a month from now or so, and I'll let you know how those are going. And if you enjoyed that, let me know because maybe we'll make this a regular thing on the series where I give you updates on my own health and maintenance and whatnot. And later on in this video, I'm gonna have an exclusive deal for our PB with J audience for something that might help you with your health goals this year. So as you watch this video, let me know in the comments down below which of these healthy habits is speaking to you and that little voice inside your head. You know, the little voice that says, 2 cookies is enough, Jeremy. Or, you know, whatever your voice says. Before we go any further, I want to talk really quickly about something that we're considering introducing into the channel this year. Memberships. Don't freak out. It doesn't mean that the videos are disappearing and you're not going to have access to them like you normally do. You will. The last thing we want to do is take that away from this community. What we want to do is add to it. And don't worry, we want to keep the prices as low as possible, both for benefits for you and for us. Let us know what you'd like to see included in a membership, because some of the things we're thinking about are like early access to videos, members only live streams, priority shoutouts and responses to comments. As you know, I like to shout out everyone and respond to everyone in the comments, but as the channel is growing, it is getting harder to get on top of those. And some of you people have been waiting a long time for your shoutouts, and I apologize, but I literally have a list of 200 of you. And I'm trying to get through them as quickly as possible. We've got a couple options for how we might do these memberships, so let us know if you have a preference. One option is doing it right here on YouTube. It keeps you on the platform, and that's great. Another option is Patreon, which means you have to sign up through Patreon as well. I'll be honest, the difference between the two is that YouTube charges a much higher percentage for us creators, so we see less of those membership fees, where Patreon has a much, much lower fee. Let us know what you prefer because obviously we want to go with what is best for our community. Like I said, this is all really, really new to us and likely we won't launch this until the beginning of February at the absolute earliest. The main reason we're considering memberships is because it helps us connect with you in a more intimate and personal way, but it also helps us out as content creators because it gives a little more stability to our income through this and allows us to do more stuff on a regular basis for the channel. Other ways that you can help us out in the meantime are hitting up that tip jar down below or checking out our merch store where we have lovely items like this and some of the other t-shirts we've added recently, as well as, you know, coffee cups. We got a blanket over here. It's like Spaceballs around this house right now.
Spaceballs the flamethrower! Bet kids love this one.
And speaking of our community and those shout outs, I'd like to say hi to some awesome people that have said hello down below. Deborah from Kenora, Lorraine from Germany, Ashley from Shreveport, Louisiana, Evan from Seattle, Catherine from Trinidad, Beth Ann from Kansas City, Tia Marie from Norway, Catriona from Scotland. Catriona, did I say your name properly? That's a gorgeous name, unless I said it wrong, in which case I'm sure the way you pronounce it is gorgeous too, but I really like the way I said it, so maybe consider that for the future if you're not already using that. Mama Z from Regina, Saskatchewan, And super fan, who I think comments multiple times on every single video we do, Kimberly from Alabama. Hey Kimberly. If you'd like a shout out, all you have to do is let us know down below who you are, where you're watching from, and what healthy habit you're gonna work on this year. And any other thoughts you have on the channel or the video. And obviously, don't forget to let YouTube know that you like this video so they can share it with other people, and subscribe for more content like this. All right, now to the healthy habits. So doing this first thing might actually help you with selecting your habits for the rest of this video. What is your goal? Is it to lose weight? Is it to gain muscle? Is it to sleep better? Be healthier overall? Love yourself more? Whatever it is, whatever your goals are for the year, write them down. Not in your coffee cup. I'm pointing to my coffee cup. You could try. Then you just drink them. Knowing your goals is really, really important because it's like creating a healthy roadmap for where you want to go. I think it's really important to have both short-term goals and long-term goals. The short-term ones will give you a boost of confidence for doing them. I'm the kind of person that likes to add make a to-do list at the top of my to-do list. And having that awesome boost of confidence of just getting stuff done will help you keep chugging along at those long-term goals. For example, when I wanted to lose weight, I set my long-term goal at losing half my body weight. But of course, I'm the kind of person that thinks about, the dangers of looking at the mountaintop. It's nerve-wracking. It's a giant peak. How are you going to get there? So I like to think about all the steps along the way in terms of short-term goals. So for me, it was like, well, I want to, lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. That's a short-term goal. I want to start eating plant-based, whole food plant-based. I want to start adding some fitness into my routine, right? These are all little things that I could just accomplish in small pieces along the way towards my bigger long-term goal. So you can have goals within goals and steps within those. And all of those things were things that I could implement right away to get my butt in gear. Because goals are great, but plans are what makes them happen. You might have heard the phrase, I've said it before, those who fail to plan to fail. Make sure your goals and your actions towards them are realistic and achievable. And find a way to track them in concrete and non-judgmental ways. Maybe you're the kind of person that uses tracking apps and whatnot. Those are great. I'm not going to specifically recommend any here. I like to kick it old school with a bullet journal. I like to make graphs and charts. I get super duper nerdy with how I use this thing. If you're curious about bullet journaling, there's a lot of videos online that can help you with that. But if you'd like me to show you how I set up a bullet journal and use it towards health goals, I'd be happy to chat with that. Sorry. First cup of the day. That's something I could potentially make a video about if enough people let me know in the comments down below that maybe that's something they're interested in. Just please do me a favor. If things don't progress at the rate that you want them to right away, don't freak out and give up. Some things just take longer than others, and maybe what you need to look at is the tactic you're using to achieve that goal and refine that. It's like going on a road trip. And just because one road is blocked in front of you doesn't mean you can't back up a little bit and go another way. It might take a little bit longer to get there, but maybe it's a prettier, scenic route that you can take. And you meet other people along the way and find other things and wonderful side excursions and whatnot. Just don't give up because that one road is blocked. That's all I'm saying. In case you haven't noticed, I'm a metaphor guy. Get used to it. Most importantly, just be kind to yourself and don't freak out about the speed of your results. The only person that you're in a race with is yourself. Fitness is a journey, not a destination. And celebrate your victories, large and small. Celebrate them in healthy ways. Just don't go there and get a giant chocolate cake because you lost a pound. That's not gonna help. We think nothing of taking medication when we get signals from our body. I have a headache. I need to take a pill. I'm tired. I need to drink some coffee. Why is it that most people don't also realize the connection between their day-to-day food and their bodies? The food we eat creates the energy we use. You probably know that phrase, you are what you eat, but it's more than just that. Because food is literally energy, the food we eat is the energy we create. So if we put crappy energy into our bodies through food, that's the kind of energy we're gonna have. If we put clean, vibrant, healthy energy into our body, that's the kind of energy we're gonna have as well. Personally, for me, the way that I eat is whole food, plant-based. Now, I am far from perfect. If you watch this channel, you know I got a sweet tooth and I indulge from time to time. But generally speaking, 90% of what I eat is whole food, plant-based, and 10% is, you know, maybe a donut sometimes. What are your vegan options?
The top row.
Everything on the top row?
Yes.
I guess I'll get one of everything. Don't judge me, that's my 10%.
I gotta have it.
But it's a treat, and I know it's a treat, and it's not an everyday thing. Except for over the holidays, it was an everyday thing over the holidays. Let's be honest here. And the whole food plant-based model that I followed was the nutritarian diet. Here's how that breaks down. 60 to 30% of my calories comes from non-starchy vegetables. 10 to 40% comes from fruit, beans, and legumes. Additionally, 10 to 40% comes from nuts and seeds, with 20% or less coming from whole grains, non-starchy vegetables, and potatoes. Now keep in mind that 10% of calories from nuts looks a lot different from 10% of calories from like raspberries or lettuce. Nuts and seeds are very calorie dense, but a little goes a long way in satiating you. Generally speaking, I don't have more than like a quarter to a half a cup of nuts a day. And if I'm having them in a nut butter form, it's about half of that, which is roughly around the same calories. Which is crazy to think, right? Like 2 tablespoons of raw nuts is about the same amount of calories as 1 tablespoon of a nut butter. And if you're having nut butter, check the label, make sure it's not filled with sugars. Try to get the natural form. And while whole grains are great for you, you don't need more than one source of them per meal. It always drives me nuts when I go to a burrito place and they're like, do you want rice inside your burrito? It's like, no, I don't want rice inside my burrito. I got a whole burrito shell. I already got a giant, massive starch source going on here. Why would I want to put it inside of it? Or you go places and it's like, do you want a side of rice and a side of potatoes? And my brain just goes, no, because those are the same things. I want to balance. Give me some more broccoli, please. So just consider that when you're filling up your plate. Generally speaking, if your plate is colorful and vibrant and it's got a little bit of everything, you're gonna be in good shape here. My website, pbwithj.ca, is packed with lots of whole food recipes. We've got breakfasts, lunches, dinners, snacks, desserts. A lot of those recipes I have made videos for on this channel, and I've also done a ton of vegan plant-based cookbook reviews. And even in the reviews where the cookbooks were a little on the unhealthier side using oils and whatnot, I always talk about the swaps I do. So you have lots of resources here on my channel and in my website to help you eat whole food plant-based if you want to give it a shot. You should give it a shot. And having this food stuff locked down is going to help you with our next habit. There's lots of different ways that you can do meal planning. You can go super, super crazy and anal, right down to the specific ingredient and recipe, or you can have a more flexible approach to it. Generally speaking, having an idea of the meals, or at least the types of meals that you want to make throughout the week, are going to help save you time and money. You'll know what you need to buy so you can avoid the things you won't and cut down on food waste. At the top of every week, I ask my kids and my wife if they have any suggestions for meals that week. If I'm doing a cookbook review, that usually gives us some kind of a framework as well. Although there's a lot of times where I just know I'm gonna make a stir fry or a pasta or burrito bar, a soup. And in that case, I can just see what is fresh at the market, but I also have a sense of how many vegetables I might need to buy for each one. Generally speaking, if you don't know what that is, think about like, one main vegetable source per meal and maybe like an additional vegetable source if you're doing something like a stir fry or a soup. Those are the kind of things you generally want to have a bunch of items inside of, right? Personally, I love to leave stir fries and soups to later on in the week because literally everything can go inside of them that's left over. That's a really, really great way to use up your vegetables. Soups and stews and stir fries, salads, wraps. Just throw stuff in, honestly. If you have a recipe and you think a vegetable could add to it, just throw it in. You don't have to follow recipes word for word. Even mine. I love it when people let me know the swaps and the additions or the changes they make. Recipes are blueprints for meals. They're not the finished house. Now, if you live alone or if you're one of those people that are in your house and you're the only one that eats plant-based or vegan, I'm sorry, that sucks a little bit. I can only empathize. I'm really lucky that everyone in our house tends to eat the same way. And I get that you don't want to make a meal for 4 and have to eat it every single night. That sucks too. What I recommend is either cut down the amount that you make or make the same amount and freeze the additional portions. What's great about that is it saves you from making meals maybe next week or 2 weeks from now. It's like when you put on your winter coat from last year and you found that there's like 20 bucks in the pocket. Bonus freezer meals. Just make sure you check your freezer every now and then to make sure that you don't have something that's been in there for 2 years, like I did last month. If you're somebody who has a busy job and doesn't have a lot of time to cook on the weeknights, consider doing meal prep on the weekends. That could include just cutting up your vegetables and storing them in containers in the fridge. It could include making a batch of rice or quinoa or whatever grain you want to eat, cooking a bunch of beans or legumes, pressing a bunch of tofu, marinating it and cutting it up into cubes, and just getting everything ready so you can just start assembling meals as you go. And the beautiful thing about meal planning is if you have a list of all the different meals you want to have that week, you're less likely to do things like ordering out or going out for a meal just because you're tired. Again, if you have a plan, you're less likely to fail. I know this is a dirty word for some. Look, in the old days, nobody exercised because our lives just didn't require us to do so. We had to either work in the fields or walk a lot more, or a lot of us and our jobs just generally involved labor of some kind. We live in a world full of modern conveniences, and so for a lot of us, we don't have to move at all, or at least not nearly the amount that our body actually requires us to do so. So we have to find ways to do that for ourselves. But what I want you to realize is that exercise doesn't have to be an ugly, dirty word. It doesn't have to suck and be a punishment. The trick is finding things that you like to do. Do you have an activity you like to do with friends? Do you like to play any sports at all? If you've got podcasts you like to listen to, the best way to listen to those is on a walk. Get yourself a little furry friend if you'd like. That's the best thing about having Rufus is, although he's a little cuddle bunny and I love that too, he forces me to get off my butt and walk even on days when I'm stuck at home and working my butt off. He comes up and sniffs at me around noon every single day, and I know that I gotta get it going. Where if I didn't have him, I might make justifications and excuses for skipping my walk that day. Meet up with a friend. That's another great way to force yourself to go for a walk. Instead of meeting for coffee, get a coffee and walk and talk while you're drinking it. I got an itch back here. Got it. Don't worry. If you're a gym person, go to the gym. That's great. If you're not a gym person, I'm not really a gym person. I literally just do all my workouts in my living room with YouTubers. And my equipment is minimal. I got a yoga mat, I got a couple dumbbells and resistance bands, and that's it. I bought a couple leg rollers to roll myself out. Honestly, I think my whole gym setup in my living room is less than $100. I have a section on my cart hopper if you want to check out any gym supplies that you can buy for home. The link will be down below, along with lots of other stuff that you can get in there. Now, maybe you're sitting there going, do I really need to exercise? What are the benefits of exercise? Here we go. It can help prevent cardiovascular disease, which is one of the leading causes of death in North America. It helps with weight loss and maintenance. It reduces the risk of type 2 diabetes. It can boost your bone density, can help reduce stress, helps fight depression and anxiety, helps control your blood pressure, reduces the risk of cancer, and it helps with digestion. So yeah, just a couple, minor reasons why you might want to get off your butt and move around a little bit. No, you still don't want to? Do it. Please? For you, I say please for you. And because you want to get off your butt, I got a gift to give to you from our friends over at Fitville. They were kind enough to send our family a selection of shoes to help us get our steps in every single day. You like them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Can I get some?
Very comfy. Whoa, they feel light.
Rufus, you're making a mess.
What do you say to Fitville?
My dog made a mess with your packaging.
They're the best shoes I've ever had.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why do you like them?
I like the color, and they're comfortable, and they won't make my feet hurt.
We all got some form of runners, but they have an amazing selection to choose from on their website, from running shoes to boat shoes, casual business sneakers, outdoors, slip-ons, air cushions, slippers. They even got tennis and pickleball shoes. I'm a big fan of pickleball. I know some people call it an old person sport, but I don't care because it's awesome. And whatever. Pickleball is awesome. Do you play pickleball? Let me know. Maybe we'll play. If you're in Toronto, I would meet up with somebody and play pickleball. I'm down for that. What's awesome about Fitville is that their whole thing is about support and comfort. Their shoes are a little extra wide, so you've always got room in there to move your toesies about. Nothing is worse than when the sides are pushing in on the shoe. I don't like it. I don't like it. They've got this springy cushionness that minimizes your impact, but also like maximizes stability, which I really, really like. And they have this thing called ErgoFit technology that supports your ankles real good. These shoes are for everybody, but they're really beneficial for people that have had any kind of foot or health problems, and they need a shoe to support them. We've been wearing ours for a week now, and they are super awesome and comfy, and I don't know if I'm gonna go back to buying any other kind of shoe. Their prices are like ridiculously cheap for shoes these days. I think every single pair on their website is $80 or less. A lot of them are half that price or lower. But even better is that for the first 30 of you that use discount code PB30, you're gonna get 30% off at the checkout. If you're a little bit slow out of the gate and you miss that first 30, don't worry, because you can use discount code PB25 to get 25% off. The link's down below. Check it out. They ship from Canada, the United States, as well as the United Kingdom. So check out down below for the links to order from any of those 3 shipping destinations. And now that we've worked up a little bit of a sweat from all that exercise we're gonna do, let's talk about something that's gonna help us deal with that. Here's the thing, most people do not drink nearly as much water as we're supposed to drink a day. Here's what we're supposed to drink. The typical person is supposed to drink half an ounce of water per pound that we weigh. So for a person that weighs 200 pounds, that's 100 ounces of water. And really more if you're active. The general recommendation for men is 3.7 liters a day, and with women, it's 2.7 liters. Most water bottles have a milliliter or liter amount on them, so you can use that to help you make sure you're getting enough. And if you're one of those people that hates keeping track of stuff like that, get one of those big buggers, that just like have all the measurements on the side and just fill it up to the amount that you need for the day, and make sure you drink it before you go to bed. Maybe like a couple hours before you go to bed, because I don't know if you're like me, but I don't drink before I go to bed anymore because I don't like to get up and pee in the middle of the night. Maybe I overshared there, I'm sorry. Middle age. The other way that you could keep track of how much water you're drinking is just like, make a note on your phone. Or if you're doing one of those checklist things that I talked about in a bullet journal, you could add that to that. Here are all the benefits of drinking water. It relieves fatigue. It improves your mood. It can help with headaches and migraines. It aids in digestion and constipation. It promotes weight loss, flushes out toxins. It improves brain function, can prevent cramps. It promotes healthy skin, fights bad breath, and it boosts your immune system. Who doesn't want all of that? And for those out there that are like, I don't like the taste of water, get over it. Seriously, there's lots of ways that you can drink water. Herbal tea, adding fruit or vegetables to your water, like, fresh cucumbers or lemon, berries. Put some of that stuff in a jug, fill it full of water, stick it in your fridge, drink from it all day long. You could also add things like herbs like mint, basil, or ginger. And you could also consider getting something like a soda stream if you want to add a little bit of fizzy to your water. But be careful drinking too much of that. The recommendation is like 1 carbonated drink a day. Anything after that can cause dental erosion. So this is the habit that took me a long time to master. And when I say master, I mean I'm really still working on it. I'm nothing if not a work in progress. So what is mindful eating? Basically, all it means is that you are fully present while partaking in food. It means you're not distracted by your phone or the TV or the internet. It's generally about paying attention to the experience. And the reason you do that is so you can listen to your hunger cues to know when you've eaten enough and you're satisfied. So here's some tips on how to savor your meals and eat mindfully. Check in with your body before you eat and get a sense of how hungry you actually are. So many of us are just programmed to have the same amount of food no matter what's going on in our lives. I know I'm that way. I think I have to fill up my bowl or my plate. But there's sometimes when I sit down for lunch or dinner and I'm not really that hungry, but I still eat the same amount that my brain is programmed to tell me that I should eat. If you know you're not that hungry, consider taking like a half portion and then getting more if you're still hungry after that. Look at the food in your plate and think about how this is going to make you feel. Is this going to satisfy you? Is it going to make you feel lethargic later? Where did this food come from? Is it local? Did it travel far away? Is it fresh? Is it highly processed? Do you have enough things on this plate that will give you a proper balanced meal? Remember earlier when we talked about what a day of eating should look like. Enjoy your food with all your senses. Take a big, deep whiff of it before you eat it. Let it linger in your mouth. Soak in all these flavors. See what you can pick out. Here's a funny thing. Generally speaking, we only taste the first 3 bites of our food. That's when we experience the joy and all the sensations that come with it. After that, our brain kind of goes on autopilot. So having like a giant portion of a food that you love doesn't actually make you happier. The decline of joy from food goes down a steep curve after those first 3 bites. So just having a large portion of something that you love doesn't actually make you feel happier the more you eat it. You're actually better off having a small portion of it and then having another portion of that later on. Yeah, your pleasure centers are kind of over with it within the first 30 seconds. It's like scrolling on TikTok or YouTube Shorts. Next. You stop experiencing the food really, really quick. Try just eating less than you would normally eat at every meal and see if your body actually asks you for more. I was a big portion guy back in the day, and just using a smaller plate made a huge difference in reducing the amount of food I eat and realizing I don't need as much as I think I do. Here's another thing that kind of blew my mind when I learned about this, is that our brains are like programmed to remember how many bites it takes to make us feel full, which is a lot of the reasons why we keep on eating even after our body is sending our cues to our brain saying we're full. That's where whole food plant-based really comes in handy, because a lot of the food you're eating is nutrient dense and not calorie dense, which means that you're eating a lot of vegetables and fruits and nuts. They're not high in calories the way a lot of other foods are. So you can eat more, you can chew more. So if you eat a whole food plant-based diet, you can eat all those bites your brain tells you need without adding calories to it. Not that they don't have calories. All food has calories. They just have a lot less than some other foods that aren't, calorie dense, nutrient dense. The bad foods are calorie dense, the good foods are nutrient dense. That's how you do it. Basically, what we want to do by eating mindfully is having a healthy relationship with our food. This is a big one for me, and I know that there are tons of opinions out there and that we are all wired very differently. Just speaking between my wife and I, she likes to go to bed around 9:30 every night. I do not know how I could go to sleep at 9:30 and not be awake at 3:30 in the morning. That's just us. I have done a lot of research myself when it comes to how much sleep we need. And even though there's a lot of people that say different things, what I was fascinated to learn is that there's a certain sweet spot. And actually sleeping past that can be detrimental to our health just as much as sleeping under it. The sweet spot that I have found in my vast amounts of research, remember I am not a doctor or a healthcare professional, is around 7 to 8 hours. Which, let's be honest, that's pretty achievable for most people. And if I'm honest, I tend to slide on the 6 to 7 hours most nights. I want to be better. I really, really do. And the quality of the sleep is really, really important too. If you are only getting those 7 hours of sleep from having sleeping pills, that's not really a quality sleep. The reason we need at least 7 hours a night is so our bodies can recharge, our muscles can heal. For those of us that are still growing, we can grow. It basically just lets our immune systems do their job properly. And not enough sleep can lead to things like obesity, diabetes, and infectious diseases. And our entire bodies need rest. That means our brains too. If you're just chilling out watching YouTube till 3 o'clock in the morning every night, that is not rest for your entire body. Even if you're watching this channel, which I appreciate, you can watch it tomorrow. when you're fully rested. So here are some tips on improving your sleep quality with a potential bedtime routine. Reducing your screen time. Everyone talks about that, especially for about a half an hour before bed, something about the blue light from screens, right? So some things that you could do during that time is you could journal if you're into that. If you do bullet journaling like I do, that's when I set up my day for the next day. You could do some stretches. You could read a book. Make some overnight oats so you have a delicious breakfast the next morning. Another thing that's supposed to be very beneficial for us is to reduce the temperature when we go to sleep. I am 100% one of those people that prefers to sleep cold than to sleep warm. That's just how it works. That's what I like. Don't yuck my yum. Avoid eating after dinner. This is also known as intermittent fasting. There's a whole bunch of other benefits to intermittent fasting. I did a whole video on that I'll link to in the description down below. But what eating too late at night can do is mess up your internal clock, so it doesn't actually realize what time of day it's in. If you are a caffeine junkie like me, try to avoid it after the early afternoon. Doesn't mean you can't drink wonderful, enjoyable drinks. Maybe just switch it over to like an herbal tea. My favorite thing that I like to do before I go to bed is just put some gentle music on and just do some light stretching. Get all cuddly on the floor. Sometimes Rufus joins me. So stress comes in many different forms for many different people, and with each one has its own set of challenges. Physical stress can cause difficulty breathing, racing of your heart, muscle tension and pain and headaches, sickness, indigestion, and just being plain old tired. Mental stress can lead to negative thoughts, irritability, inflexible thinking, and just a general short temper. Emotional stress can lead to anxiety, feeling fearful, angry, frustrated, sad, overwhelmed. It can give you a difficulty with focusing and just general lack of motivation. And behavioral stress can lead to a lot of things we've already talked about. A lack of sleep, a lack of exercise, overeating, social withdrawal, and also substance abuse. So while obviously each of these has its own set of challenges and solutions for them, here are some things down below that I think you should consider to help you. Yoga. We've already talked about the benefits of exercise that have to do with both physical and mental, but there is just something about moving your body in a gentle but also intense. There's some intense yogas out there that I like to do that can just really do a lot of good for you. And for those that are like, I'm too old to do yoga or I'm too overweight, that's nonsense. Trust me, YouTube is full of yoga videos for every age and body type and limitation. I have seen wheelchair yoga on YouTube. Check it out. We already talked about the benefits of walking in terms of exercise, but there is something that's really good about just getting out there and clearing your head from time to time. The other thing I love about my daily walk that I have with my dog in the middle of the day is it just helps me reset. If my morning wasn't going the way I wanted it to, it just gives me a bit of a break to recalibrate and figure out what I can do in the afternoon to help get it back on track. When it comes to meditation, a lot of people just think of, sitting there and doing the words, the ums and whatnot. If you're not into that kind of meditation, there's lots of other ways to meditate. For me, my walks are a form of meditation. Doing my morning exercise is a form of meditation. Cooking is a form of meditation. Meditation is just anything you can do where you can be fully present and enjoy the moment you're in and shut out the rest of the world. If you can do the traditional form of it where you just sit in silence, that's awesome. That's not for all of us, including this guy. I spent a year trying to do that kind of meditation, and it took me a long time to accept the fact that that's just not for me. And that's okay. And obviously, therapy. For some reason, I think there's still some weird social stigma when it comes to therapy that I just don't get. We have no problem going to professionals for other problems we have, whether it has to do with our health in other ways, anything. We get our mechanics do our cars, computer people do our computer things. Whatever it is, there's absolutely nothing wrong with talking to somebody when there's stuff going on in your head that you need help with. There's a lot of services out there online. I'm not sponsored by any of them, so I don't want to necessarily point you in any one direction. So if you don't live somewhere where you've got a selection of therapists to choose from, consider looking for one online if that's something that you think would be beneficial for you. And if you work in a job where you have health benefits, probably they're going to be covered at least a portion of that. Therapy is awesome. If you think it could help you, you should do it. And last but not least, make sure that you have got a community and a support system around you for whatever it is that you want to achieve this year. I know I've heard from a lot of people that don't necessarily have family and friends that support the way that they are moving towards on their health journey, and I'm sorry to hear about that. It really, really sucks to not have people in your life that are supportive of you. But please know that there are support systems available everywhere, especially here online. You're already in one if you are watching this channel. The PBWJ community are a bunch of beautiful people. Just check out the comments down below. It is full of awesome people like myself that are happy to chat with you and answer any questions you've got and offer advice and support. Do not be shy about reaching out down there or on other community groups on Facebook or anywhere else that you like to go to talk about your things. Don't feel like you are alone in your journey. Reach out to those so that you know that you've got someone else that's got your back that can help offer support. That's what we do around here, and that's what I love to see as part of this community. So, say hi, reach out, do all the things. So, what am I going to work on for my own personal list of healthy habits that I want to start kicking more butt at this year? As I already kind of mentioned, sleep. I'm notorious for getting maybe 6 hours of sleep a night, and I want to bump that up to at least 7 hours minimum, with trying to get 8 hours. So for the month of January, I'm going to try to get 8 hours of sleep every single night. I want to focus again on mindful eating. I think I just, I get busy during the day. I have a meal while I'm still working, and I don't take that time to just be really mindful with my meals. And that often leads to eating a larger portion than I probably need. So I want to get back to eating mindfully this year as well. And along with that, especially coming out of the holidays, is I really, really, really want to focus more on making sure I'm hitting that 90% of my whole food plant-based requirements. And by requirements, they're self-imposed. So I'm going to be making sure that I have far more balance in all my meals, and I'm, not having as many treats as I might have been enjoying over the last couple weeks and months. I'm not perfect. Even though I already exercise regularly, I really want to amp up my muscular, what's the word? I don't know. I'm not a fitness dude. I want to build more muscle. When I lost a lot of my weight, a lot of muscle went with it. So I want to work on building that back up over the next year. And lastly, hydration. I do drink a lot throughout the day, but I find that I could probably drink more. So I'm going to be better about keeping track of how much water I'm drinking in this new year. So check in a little while from now, and I will do an update video on how my healthy habits are going for the year so far. If I'm sticking with it, if I've succeeded in any, if I've failed in any, how I decided to go about them. I don't know what I'm going to talk about yet. You're going to have to stay tuned to find out. I'm going to start after my birthday. In fact, this weekend, I'm going to have a video coming out talking all about our favorite birthday meals. So stay tuned for that. Let us know in the comments below what kind of healthy habits you're going to try this year. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? We make videos like this all the time. Super awesome things that aren't just me talking. A lot of it's me and the family cooking and eating and whatnot. So you should enjoy those as well. In particular, YouTube is looking at you and going, you know what? This is the video they need to watch next. This is the one that is just it's gonna make them feel all satisfied and warm and tingly inside. So give her a click and see if they're right.